Some interesting news coming out of the Senate hearings today. I've already posted a video with Kash Patel's interaction with a few senators, which is absolutely hilarious. So you need to check it out after this video. But Chuck Grassley has released some documents regarding this FBI Arctic frost probe, where back in 2022, it looks like, or even earlier, that the FBI was targeting GOP conservatives, including Charlie Kirk and his organization. FBI investigation, this is from the New York Post, launched in the wake of the 2020 election, scrutinized nearly 100 Republican and GOP-aligned groups or people, including Turning Point USA. Kind of interesting this is coming out, of course, after the horrible thing that happened with Charlie Kirk. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley published files related to the probe, codenamed Arctic Frost, during a panel hearing, saying the records revealed Arctic Frost was much broader than just any electoral matter, and that the investigation expanded to Republican organizations. Some examples of the groups the Christopher Wray FBI sought to place under political investigation included the Republican National Committee, Republican Attorneys General Association, and Trump political groups. On that political list was one of Charlie Kirk's groups, Turning Point USA. In other words, Arctic Frost wasn't just a case to politically investigate Trump. It was the vehicle by which partisan FBI agents and DOJ prosecutors could achieve their partisan ends and improperly investigate the entire Republican political apparatus. Arctic Frost kicked off in April 2022 and focused on at least 92 Republican-linked entities like Kirk's youth activist organization. That November, the case was handed over to special counsel Jack Smith. Do we all remember Jack Smith? Guy who lost a ton of cases, including didn't get very far with Trump. Smith would go on to federally charge President Trump with unlawfully hoarding national security documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate and wrongly seeking to overturn the 2020 election results. By the way, side note, I'm not happy with the fact that these people who were going after Trump using lawfare have not been held accountable. I'm certainly, and I didn't mention this in the last video, one of the senators that Kash Patel went after, Adam Schiff, and Adam Schiff supposedly committed mortgage fraud, but he hasn't been charged. Nothing's happening with that. So these things are driving me crazy that no one's being held accountable at all for anything that they're doing. The investigation pursued lines of inquiry about purportedly false election fraud claims, fake elector schemes, frivolous lawsuits, financial fraud, and pressure on state officials to flip vote counts in Trump's favor. This conspiracy involves subjects from the private sector in numerous battleground states: Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, New Mexico, and Arizona, the Department of Justice, and the White House. One of the newly released FBI documents stated. The FBI documents also show that the Bureau pursued potential crimes related to J6, an apparent reference to groups that may have backed Trump's Stop the Steal rally or participated in the J6 2021, the Capitol riot that temporarily halted certification of Biden's electoral victory or stolen election. Turning Point USA was one of those groups, though the exact basis of the inquiry is unclear. And we know, obviously, what happened to Charlie Kirk. It doesn't need to be restated. In the wake of his murder, Republicans like Vice President J.D. Vance and the White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller have vowed a law enforcement crackdown on left-wing groups that are promoting violence. Prominent figures swept up in the Arctic Frost dragnet included Trump's PACs and fundraising committees, former personal attorney and ex-New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, and former DOJ official Jeffrey Clark, among others. Clark, who suggested states should look at alleged voting irregularities and consider appointing new electors who could change the 2020 election results, said Tuesday on X that the files proved he was targeted for his own financial records. Clark now serves as the Office of Management and Budget OMB regulatory czar. The Arctic Frost files, said Clark, who was reportedly under consideration to become acting attorney general after Bill Barr's departure in December 2020, had, quote, falsely represented that the DOJ had identified significant concerns relating to the election that may have impacted the outcome of the election. The probe was run in conjunction with the National Archives, the Department of Justice of Inspector General, and the U.S. Postal Service. Neither of Smith's cases made it to trial, I said before Trump's reelection in November 2024, and were ultimately dismissed. So, of course, more's coming out about what was happening in relation to trying to keep Donald Trump from becoming president. That's really what this is all about. And we find more information, we see more information, more is being proven. The whole Steele dossier, we all know that the Hunter Biden laptop wasn't Russian collusion. We all know that everything was lawfare regarding Trump's trials, but yet no one's been held accountable. So, you can continue to hold out hope, but at some point, something has to be done and somebody has to be held accountable for something. Letitia James, mortgage fraud. So far, nothing's happened. Adam Schiff, mortgage fraud. So far, nothing's happened. And nobody involved in any of the lawfare have been sanctioned or punished for what they've done. So I don't know where we go from here. And Pam Bondi comes out today and says that hate speech is not protected speech, that her office is going to go after anybody that uses hate speech. So let me know what you think. I don't think things are getting any better. I don't think things are really improving. And there are a lot of people that need to be held accountable that so far have not been. And I don't think they're going to be. Let me know what you think.